Good afternoon and welcome to St Mary's Perivale on a very hot afternoon. One of the advantages of having a medieval church is it had very thick walls, so this is one of the few cool places in Ealing at the moment. And we have a lovely vocal concert for you this afternoon featuring Chapa and Julian Gallant. You can read their biogs on our website. They're both wonderful musicians with fine CVs, and it's a great treat to have some vocal items, particularly Schumann's immortal Dichterliebe. Anyway, I'm going to ask our audience now to put their hands together and give a big warm welcome to Julian Gallant to tell us.
Thank you, Hugh. Well, thank you very much, Hugh, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming here and sparing your afternoon this lovely day in this wonderful old church, which keeps cool in spite of 30 degrees of heat outside. But it is one of the great venues in the country, the great concert venues. It's a place where you feel you're part of a family. You feel the music is just made for this place. And in fact, it was built before any of the music that's performed here was actually written. So, this afternoon, I have a wonderful job. I'm playing the piano for a great tenor. He's going to come on in a minute, and he's going to sing two big sets. And the first one is Dichterliebe of Robert Schumann, and in the second half of the afternoon, he's going to be singing music from Mexico in Spanish. So it's a wonderful mixture. Couple of words about the Dichterliebe. Robert Schumann, born in 1810 and died in 1856, was a key figure in the Romantic period, a great mentor of Johannes Brahms, and a very, very influential figure in the Romantic period. He wasn't just a composer; he was also a very good pianist, and he was also a very important writer and wrote many, many important things about music. He was, to use a rather sort of banal phrase, he was uber-romantic, unbelievably romantic. Dichterliebe reflects that personality very, very well. Now, Dichterliebe is a very important cycle. One of the reasons is the choice of words is absolutely crucial. So this is Schumann actually looking for the greatest poetry in the German language for him to set to music. And it's quite hard to set poetry to music. It's quite difficult. Some ideas in poetry don't go very well in music. Sometimes it's so subtle that music really can't portray it. So you have to find good poetry with broad images that goes well in music. And that's why he turned to the songbook of Heinrich Heine, who was roughly contemporary with Schumann. And he selected the 16 poems that make up this cycle, Dichterliebe. Broadly speaking, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because you have it in front of you. Please follow it through. Broadly speaking, it's about the love of a poet. And the line of argument, if you like, is it starts with happiness, the month of May, in wunderlichen Monat Mai, in the wonderful month of May, and it talks about buds and talks about birds and the joy of being alive. And it progresses through love, real erotic, intense love. If you look at one of the songs, it starts with this incredible word, allnächtlich, all night. I think Heine actually made that word up himself, but of course it's a fantastic word for Schumann to use, allnächtlich. And of course, it doesn't finish in happiness, it finishes in despair because the love is unrequited. And in fact, if you look at the last song, the old angry songs, die alten Börsenlieder, where he talks about, let us now bury them, fetch a large coffin. And we're talking about imagery, and he's talking about this coffin that planks must be bigger than the ones used to build the bridge at Mainz. He's saying, get me 12 giants to carry it. They must be stronger than St. Christopher on the cathedral in Cologne. So these images that everybody would understand, every German would understand, very strong images, go very well in music. And of course, the wonderful final verse. Wisst ihr, warum der Sarg wohl so groß und schwer mag sein? Ich senkt auch meine Liebe und meinen Schmerz hinein. Do you know why the coffin must be so heavy? I sank with it my love and my pain deep inside. And this gives Schumann the musical ideas to create this fantastic song cycle that's going to be sung by Louis Chapa. Louis Chapa.
strahlst in Diamantenpracht. Es war kein Strahl in deines Herzens Nacht, da weiß ich längst. Ich rolle nicht, und wenn das Herz auch bricht. Ich sah dich ja im Traume und sah die Nacht in deines Herzens Raume und sah dich schlank, die dir am Herzen fließt. Ich sah mein Lieb, wie sie duellend bist. Ich grolle nicht, ich grolle nicht. Und wüssten sie Blumen, die Kleinen, wie tief verwundet mein Herz, sie würden mit mir weinen, zu heilen meinen Schmerz. Und wüssten sie Nachtigallen, wie ich so traurig und lang, sie ließen fröhlich erscheinen, erquickenden Gesang. Und wüssten sie mein Weh, die golden Sterne ein, sie kämen aus Süden und sprachen Trost mir ein. Sie alle kennen nicht Wiesen, nur eine kennt meinen Schmerz. Sie hat ja selbst zerrissen mir das Herz. Das ist ein Flöten und Geigen, Trompeten schmettern rein, Trompeten schmettern rein. Da tanzt von die Hochzeit reigen, die Herz allerliebste mein, die Herz allerliebste mein. Das ist ein Klingen und Dröhnen, das ist ein Klingen und Dröhnen, ein Pauken und Anschallerei. Das Wiechen schluchsten und stöhnen, das Wiechen schluchsten und stöhnen, die lieblichen Engelein. Das Liedchen klingen, das einst die Liebste sang. So will mir die Brust zerspringen von wilden Schmerzen Drang. Es treibt mich ein dunkles Sinnen hinein zur Waldeshöhe. Dort lös ich auf Ein Jüngling liebt ein Mädchen, die hat eine andere Welt. Die andere liebt eine andere und hat sich mit dieser vermählt. Das Männchen nimmt aus Ärgen den ersten besten Mann, der ihm in den Weg gelaufen, der Jüngling ist überdran. Es ist eine alte Geschichte, doch bleibt sie immer neu. Und wenn sie just passiert, dann bricht das Herz in zwei.
Auf und die Träne floss noch von dem Wange herab. Ich hab im Traum geweinet. Mir träumt, du verließest mich. Ich wachte auf und ich weinte noch lange bitterlich. Ich hab im Traum geweinet, mir träumte, du wärst mich noch gut. Ich wachte auf deinen süßen Füßen. Du siehst mich an, wie mütiglich, und schüttelst das blonde Köpfchen. Aus deinen Augen schleichen sich die Tränenperlentröpfchen. Du sagst mir heimlich ein leises Wort und gibst mir den Strauß von Zypressen. Ich wachte auf und der Strauß ist fort und das Wort hab ich vergessen. Da singt es und da klingt es vor einer Zauberland, wo bunte Blumen blühen in golden Abendlicht und lieblich düften glühen im freundlichen Gesicht. Und grüne Bäume singen und alte Melodien, die Lüfte heimlich klingen und Vögel smettern drein. Bilder steigen voll außer fort und tanzen Lüften reigen im wunderlichen Chor. Und blaue Funken brennen an jedem Blatt und Reis und rote Lichter röhren im irren, wirren Kreis. Und laute Quellen brechen aus wilden Marmorstein und seltsam in der Becken statt von der Wiederschein. Böse Lieder, die Träume bös und arg, die lasst uns jetzt begraben, holt einen großen Sarg. Die lasst uns jetzt gar manches, doch sag ich noch nicht was. Der Sarg muss sein noch größer, bis heil der Berge Fass. Und hol deinen Totenbahre, Bretter fest und dick. Auch muss sie sein noch Länge, ach wie zu Mainz die Brück. Und hol dein Totenbrief, lesen, ich muss noch stärker sein, als wie der stärker Christus im Domzügel am Rhein. Die sollen der Tag vortragen und sinken ins Meer hinab, denn solchen großen Sarge gebiert ein großes Grab. Wisst ihr, warum der Sarg wohl so groß und schwer mag sein? Ich send auch meine Liebe und meinen Schmerz hinein.
Well, after that beautiful and ravishing performance of a gorgeous bit of music, Louis having a 3-minute gap to have a drink of water and things. Very moving. I was particularly impressed in doing it all without the music, because so often they sit with their big score here and you can't see their face. And it's a real barrier. But to do it with the whole thing from memory really improves it so much. And as a pianist, the most glorious bits are those wonderful postludes right at the end. And there's one or two of the other songs that have these magical bits of Schumann's piano writing after the singer's finished. Because, of course, Schumann was a pianist, and it's so beautiful. And it's wonderful having the words to look at, too. Because otherwise they're just making faces and you wonder what the hell they're on about. I don't know how long to do my song and dance routine for. I wonder if they're going to be ready fairly soon. I think they are. So will you have a big round of applause, please?
Thank you very much. And thanks for coming and making us company. The next set is going to be very interesting, very, very different of what you just heard, which is going to be an anthology of the bolero, of the Mexican bolero. Now, the first set is 4 songs by Maria Grever. Maria Grever was one of the most prolific composers in Mexico, songwriters in Mexico, and most of these songs became films in itself. And she spent her time composing between Mexico and New York, and it was a beautiful time around the 1930s, all the way up to 1960, 1970. And these songs went all around the cabaret field in New York, Mexico City, La Habana. So I hope you enjoy it. The 4 songs, they talk about love for the children, love for the wife who goes, love for the wife who comes back, love for the husband who goes, and the husband that comes back. Enjoy.
En mi pecho un fuerte latido, después un suspiro y luego el chasquido de un beso febril. Muñequita cabellos de oro, de dientes de perla y labios de rubí. Dime si me quieres como yo te adoro, si de mí te acuerdas como yo de ti. Y a veces escucho un eco divino que envuelto en la brisa parece decir: si te quiero mucho, 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 tanto como entonces, siempre hasta el morir. Y a veces escucho un eco divino que envuelto en la brisa parece decir: siempre hasta el que te quiero, porque nunca me habían visto enamorado, y yo te juro que yo mismo no comprendo el por qué me fascina tu mirada. Cuando estoy cerca de ti yo estoy contento, y yo quisiera que de nadie te acordaras. Tengo celos hasta del pensamiento que pueda recordarte a otra persona amada. Júrame que aunque pase mucho tiempo, no olvidarás el momento en que yo te conocí. Mírame, pues no hay nada más profundo ni más grande en este mundo que el cariño que te di. Bésame con un beso enamorado, como nadie me ha besado desde el día en que nací. Quiéreme hasta la locura, y así sabrás la amargura que estoy sufriendo por ti. Con un beso enamorado, como nadie me ha besado desde el día en que nací. Quiéreme hasta la locura, y así sabrás la amargura que estoy sufriendo por ti. ¿Recuerdas aquel beso que en broma me negaste? Se escapó de tus labios sin querer. Abrumado, por ello busco abrigo en la inmensa amargura de mi ser. Cuando a tu lado, no me niegues tus besos, que el amor que te he dado no podrás olvidar. No me preguntes nada, que nada he de explicarte, que el beso que negaste ya no lo puedes dar. Cuando vuelva a tu lado y esté solo contigo, las cosas que te digo no repitas vuelva a tu lado y esté solo contigo. Las cosas que te digo no repitas jamás. Por compasión une tu labio al mío y estrechame en tus brazos y muestra los latidos de nuestro corazón. Una triste sonrisa tu labio dibujó, una indiscreta lágrima de tus ojos cayó. Tu mano entre la mía, enlazada las dos, de tener pretendía nuestra separación, y sin decirnos nada nos dijimos adiós. Ay, en mi cruel soledad fatal, llega tu imagen a mí, sensual. Tengo delirio por verte, siento temor de perderte. Vuelve otra vez a mi lado, no te alejes de mí. Di que no has olvidado el amor que te di. Siento delirio por verte, tengo temor de perderte. Vuelve otra vez a mi lado, no te alejes de mí. Di que no has olvidado el amor que te di.
Well, after that magnificent singing, I think they deserve a 3-minute break. I'm going to inflict on you one or two things to do with this church in the lockdown, because a lot of you won't know what went on here. Basically, over the years preceding the lockdown till 2020, various friends, led by Simon Shute with George Auckland at the back, had installed all this video stuff, but I was a total non-believer in it because I thought the main purpose is for the audience here, and it would never catch on people watching at home. And but I put up with it, humour them really. And then the lockdown came, and the church was empty, and we realised that we were in a position to continue broadcasting, whereas very few other venues in the land could. And so we were able, from June 2020 to the following July, to stream 156 concerts from an empty church here, and they were watched by a total of 250,000 viewers. That's not true. 250,000 views of the concerts. Now, it's not quite the same, but you see what I mean. I mean, there were 250,000 views of our broadcasts, and we raised and we paid out £60,000 to the musicians who played, because we always pay our musicians as a matter of principle, and they were paid £60,000, and we had no public sponsorship or anything. That just came from donations, and we're quite proud of it. Obviously, we're a lot of old retired folk having a bit of fun, and since September, we've had this. Last September, we've had this joint thing whereby we have an audience and the broadcasts. And as I say, this is a bumper audience for us. We normally get about 25, 30. And we have 400 or 500 viewers for each concert. And the format works very well. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because we're going to have our final bit. But I thought, since you're a captive audience, I would inflict that on you. Now let's have a big round of applause for Louis.
You're a fantastic audience. The next set, it has another three composers, Nilo Menendes, Álvaro Carillo, and Alfonso Esparza Oteo. The three of them represented all the cabaret movement, again on the 30s to the 70s, where it was at the height of Mexican film, the Mexican film industry, and all the nightclubs, which is very different than nightclubs that nowadays. Back then, they were singers without microphone, just people having dinner, and it was all very nice. Still nice, different. So please enjoy.
Aquellos ojos verdes saben las tristezas que en mi alma han dejado aquellos ojos verdes que yo nunca olvidaré. Amor mío, tu rostro querido no sabe guardar secretos de amor. Ya me dijo que estoy en la gloria de tu intimidad. No hace falta que digas te quiero, no me vuelvas loco con tanta verdad. No lo digas, no me hagas que llore de felicidad. Cuánta envidia se va a despertar, cuántos ojos nos van a mirar. La alegría de todas mis horas prefiero pasarlas en la intimidad. Olvidaba decir que te quiero con todas las fuerzas que el alma me da. Quien no ha amado, que no diga nunca que vivió jamás. Cuánta envidia se va a despertar, cuántos ojos nos van a mirar. La alegría de todas mis noches prefiero pasarlas en la intimidad. Olvidaba decir que te amo con todas las fuerzas que el alma me da. Quien no ha amado, que no diga nunca que vivió jamás. Quiero saberlo por ti. ajena. Diles que mienten, que nunca tendrás otro amor. Deja que mis labios te nombren, que no como se nombra Dios. Dime que sí, y un pedazo de cielo tendré, y si tú me lo pides, mi cielo y mi vida también te daré. Dicen que tú no me quieres. Quiero escucharlo de ti. Si tienes otros quereres, quiero saberlo por ti. Dicen que en tu cara morena tiemblan otros besos de amor. Nada me importa la vida sabiéndote ajena. Diles que mienten, que nunca tendrás otro amor. Que mis labios te nombren, que no como se nombra Dios. Dime que sí, y un pedazo de cielo tendré, y si tú me lo pides, mi cielo y mi vida también te daré. Lucevano le stelle e olezzava la terra, stride all'uscio dell'orto e un passo sfiorava l'arena. Entrava ella fragrante, e cadea fra le braccia ventrio fremente, le belle forme dai veli svani per sempre il sogno mio d'amore. L'oro è fuggito e muoio disperato, e muoio disperato. Mai tanto la vita, tanto la vita.
Well, it's been a truly wonderful afternoon with heroic singing throughout and wonderful piano playing as well. Fantastic. And if you've enjoyed that from afar, you know what you can do? Please go to our website where there's a PayPal facility where you can get rid of some of your money. Please do so, because we always pay our musicians. None of us get paid, so it goes straight to them. Please give generously. The next concert here is on Tuesday, 2 days' time, with a wonderful Ukrainian pianist, Sasha Grinyuk, exceptional pianist. That's on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. But we must have more of these vocal concerts. I apologize for not having one for so long. I'll put that right, I promise. Anyway, our technician upstairs has been Rob Jenkins this afternoon, who sorted out all this sound equipment. And Jill Rowley's been doing the honours at the back too. So thank you very much for being with us, and a very good afternoon from West London.